Hello everyone, today a video that I've wanted to make for a very long time. Namely, how much does a container house really cost? If you've followed the My Container House series, you've seen that it's been about 20 episodes. We've built this house and we're coming to the end of the construction. Or at least I haven't finished everything yet, but I've already bought everything. So I am able today to tell you very precisely how much does my container house cost. So I really wanted to make this video where I present in detail how much each element of my container house cost me. So that you have a realistic view of this type of project if you also plan to embark on this adventure. And if you do not plan to embark on container houses, it's okay. It will always be very interesting to see if, yes or no, this type of house is economical or not. Hi, I'm Julian Malara and this is my container house. I'm 26 years old, have no knowledge of do-it-yourself, but I set myself the crazy challenge of building an ecological and affordable house. I'm also trying to develop my resilience and live in harmony with nature. I film and share everything on this channel. Subscribe to join the adventure. But like everyone else, I had to take out a bank loan. And to be able to do that, I decided to go through a broker who specifically looked for the best loan for me, who took care of all my paperwork. It cost me 2,000 euros. You might think that's expensive, but remember, I am a temporary show business worker. I wanted to build a house myself without any knowledge, and this house, it was a house made of shipping containers. So needless to say, the banks weren't very happy to meet me, so thankfully I had the broker with me. Without her, I wouldn't have gotten the loan at all. Then once the bank said yes, we agreed to lend you money. I had to pay again 2,000 euros in bank charges so that the bank could sign a paper and tell me, okay, that's a lot of bank charges. Also, consider that I was fortunate to secure a 25-year loan at a 1% interest rate. 5% interest rate is low, but in fact, if you look closer, it still adds up. 25,000 euros of interest and insurance over 25 years. I'm not going to count them in the cost of the house, but it's still good to know. So first of all, on the loan part, let's remove the question of interest. But the broker and the bank fees cost me 4,000 euros, and that's just so I can start spending money. And here we get to the heart of the matter and we start from the beginning. That is to say, buying a plot of land on which to build the house. In this video, I really made sure to separate everything that was cost related to the land and everything that was cost related to the house. Because not everyone will buy the same type of land, so it's not relevant to mix these two costs together. My 2,000 square meter land is located near Tornes. It was fairly inexpensive, costing only 28,000 euros. But to that you have to add 3,000 euros for the notary for the sale of the land and 1,500 euros for development taxes to have the right to build on it. My land was not serviced, so I had to bring in water and electricity, and it cost me an additional 2,000 and 1,500 euros. The land is not expensive, mostly because we are in a remote area. And the problem with remote areas is that there is not always any sewage system. So I had to add 9,500 euros for septic tanks to treat my wastewater. And finally, the last part of this land budget, I hired an earth mover to make a gravel platform for parking cars and delivery trucks, and to run water and electricity conduits underground. And also to level out my land a bit, which added 4,000 euros to the budget. So we arrive at a total budget of 50,000 euros for my land and everything needed to make it habitable. Let's say for me to be able to build my house, it seems like a lot of money. And anyway, building a house is always a lot of money. But compared to the French average, our prices are extremely low. We finally get to what interests us the most, the price of the container house. I suggest we start by detailing the price of the house, excluding water and air. That is to say, it's generally finished on the outside, but there's still everything to do on the inside. This is the price you will most often find on the internet. When you want to compare different construction costs, this is the most relevant price. Because while everyone does roughly the same envelope, when it comes to interior layout, everyone will do according to their budget. We start with the foundations, and I have decided to go with steel technopiles. In other words, my house is on stilts for 20 technopiles. It cost me 10,000 euros and 2 days of installation. So it was really a faster, more ecological and much cheaper solution than concrete foundations. On these foundations, I placed 4 used iCube shipping containers of 12 meters by 2.5 to obtain a structure of 120 square meters outside and 116 square meters inside. It cost me 20,000 with delivery. Small parenthesis, but the prices of containers vary enormously. That is to say, when I got them, they were not very expensive, but just a few months before I bought them, there had been COVID and all that, so it was worth double. And today, I believe they are a bit cheaper. Global maritime transport prices fluctuate significantly. To help me think through the design of my house, particularly from a structural and insulation standpoint, I hired a structural study office and a thermal study office for a total of 1,500 euros. Based on these studies, I confidently began cutting and welding the containers together to reinforce the structure. And I also added steel tubes of 4x4 centimeters and 8x8 centimeters. And if we add up the cost of the steel and all the tools used, we get to 2,000 euros. Let's make a subtotal. Already for the entire structure of my house, we reach a budget of 33,500 euros. On this structure, I then installed 3 bay windows, 4 windows, an entrance door, 5 interior doors for a total of 6,000 euros of carpentry. I then attacked the roof with 5,600 euros of beam-oriented strand board to make up the frame. I came to fill this frame with 2,500 euros of cellulose watts. And I sealed everything with a PDM top that cost me 4,000 euros. I still have to add 2,000 euros of finishing cover and 2,000 euros of vegetation to have the beautiful green roof that I promised to the town hall. Then, to accommodate the insulation of my walls, I had to rebuild a light wooden structure. With 650 euros of brackets welded on the containers and 850 euros of rafters. And between these rafters, I came to place 3,500 euros of wood wool protected by 500 euros of anti-rodent sandstone and 300 euros of rain screen. And finally, I will only have 4,100 euros of wooden cladding to install on my entire house. Because for now, it looks more like a big package of Leroy Merlin gifts. But that will come later. And above all, it will make my house look more like a small wooden chalet than a shipping container house. And even if it's inside, I'm still going to add the 2,500 euros of polyurethane that I used to insulate the floor. This ensures a fully insulated, waterproof and airtight house. So, we come to a total of 34,500 euros for the exterior cladding, which complements the 33,500 euros for the structure. To get a waterproof, airtight house at 68,000 euros or 586 euros per square meter. But be careful, you have to take into account that this price is for a self-build house. Even though upon reflection, the technopiles and containers, it wasn't me who took care of them. And that still constitutes half the cost of the house excluding water and air, but despite that, it's a price that is still almost unbeatable for a house that is so well insulated. Yes, I didn't provide details, but I still have them. 50 centimeters of cellulose watts on the roof, 24 centimeters of wood wool on the walls, and 10 centimeters of polyurethane on the floor. So my house, it is really very well insulated. It's time to see the cost of this house's interior, containers and parentheses. But I present the budget in this order so that it's clearer. But it's absolutely not the order in which I carried out all the work. For that, I'll let you go see the playlist on the YouTube channel. Inside, as you can see, I decided to keep the container walls exposed. So that means I had to sandblast, so I paid 1,000 euros for a sandblaster and sand to remove the old paint, and then I had to pay again. 1,500 euros for special steel paint to properly repaint the entire interior of the containers. Thinking back on it, it might have been just as expensive or even cheaper to cover everything with drywall. Because I wouldn't have had to sand and I could have used paint. Cheaper. So to see, but I think it has more character to keep the aesthetic, shipping containers even. Even though I kept my corrugated metal walls, I still built some drywall walls to separate the different rooms for a total cost of 500 euros. I then did all my plumbing for a budget of 1,000 euros and all my electrical network for 2,000 euros. Lastly, I installed a 2,000 worth of parquet flooring on top of the insulation. To finish, you also have to add the super thermodynamic VMC water heater from Aldis at 3,500 euros. and the very efficient heat pump also from Aldi's at 9,500 euros. These two devices are significant investments but will quickly become profitable due to their high efficiency and low electricity consumption. I'll let you go watch the videos, I've put the links all around. We arrive at a total budget of 21,000 euros for the interior, which gives us a house ready to move into for 89,000 euros. That's 767 euros per square meter. The video could stop here, and maybe we should, because it's starting to get very hot. But I wanted to add a little bonus for you. That is to tell you the cost of all the interior furnishings, in fact. The kitchen appliances, bathroom, living room, and bedrooms, all of it. It's not very relevant for the cost of the container house because everyone will furnish their house with different quality furniture, depending on their budget. But there you go, it's a little extra information, a bonus. I've already bought all the furniture I need, but I haven't assembled everything yet. You'll see there are still a lot of boxes in the house. You'll need to come back in 2 months on the YouTube channel to have a nice presentation video of the finished house. With all the furniture, decorations, all that. So see you in 2, 3, 4, see you later, subscribe. For the furniture and appliances in my kitchen, which will be just to the left, there, it cost me 7,000 euros. But well, I bought appliances from good brands and my kitchen will really be huge. For the furniture and appliances in the bathroom, I spent 3,000 euros. Little tip, bathroom furniture costs way too much, so I simply bought kitchen furniture that I adapted into bathroom furniture. It's really a tip that saves a lot of money. The dining room tables and chairs on my right cost about 2,000 euros. For the 2 bedrooms, if you count the bed and mattress, the sofa bed, the wardrobes, a bit of everything you need. It cost me 3,000 and the living room cost me 4,000 dollars. Of sofa, television furniture, everything you need to make a living room. And to all this, we're going to add 1,000 euros for finishing, lighting, things I forgot to put in the budget. Like this, we arrive at a total budget for furnishing of 20,000 euros. This is really a budget that I gave you. As an indication, it could vary from double, triple, or 10 times if you are a millionaire, depending on your desires and needs. So there you have it. It was just like that. For info, same. I don't count it in the total budget of the house. But it's interesting to know that I consumed about 2,000 euros of gasoline with all the back and forth I did between my house and my construction site. In conclusion, it's time to reveal the true price of my container house. If we understand everything I've told you, everything, my container house cost me, if you were to add a montage, it's weird. 189,000 euros, 189,000 euros including tax. You have a 216 square meter container house on a 2,000 square meter plot, well arranged, all clean, finally modern, comfortable. The whole package, right? But this price, to be fair, we should actually deduct the 20,000 euros for furniture. As I said, it's irrelevant. People will buy the furniture they want, and we should also deduct the 25,000 euros of interest and insurance. To arrive at the true total, which is 100. 43,000 euros for the 116 square meter house ready to move in and the 2,000 square meter plot fully serviced. It's a very large sum, 143,000 euros, but in reality, for a modern house, very well insulated, which has character in addition, which is atypical on a very large plot, I don't know, either ultra lost where I am. In the end, it remains very, very reasonable and well below any other house budget. Actually, I wanted to make a comparison for you, by the way, with other types of construction. Like how much would a wooden house cost? A stone house, a straw house? In reality, it's highly complex since each project is unique. That's all there is to it. The price of the foundations can vary from double to half. Depending on whether your land is flat or sloping, the price of the house can vary if you put in floors or if it's single story. It's very complicated to compare, but know that the budget that I had is a budget that is very low compared to any other type of construction. Here, we are at the economical container house. This type of house is not expensive. Indeed, if you live in an eco-place and you make a straw house, a straw yurt, or a pallet house with recycled straw, earth, there is a way to do much, much cheaper. But I want to say it's not the same project and it's not a big deal because these are constructions that are also very, very interesting. I want to make many reports on this specific housing type, lighter and much cheaper, with a quality of life that is still very interesting. Subscribe to see this project materialize. Honestly, these light habitats are promising. I'm so excited about it that I even want in my garden to make a small straw yurt or a straw airbox house. I haven't defined the project yet, but to make a very economical, very ecological habitat of 20 square meters. So really? Subscribe to the channel, comment, like, also tell me if this kind of project interests you because it might be the next part of the adventure. Once I have finished and taken a well-deserved break after the container house, do not hesitate to support us on Typee or if you are a company to sponsor us to help us finance. Thank you for watching all our reports, videos and everything we present on this channel. It was Julian. See you soon.